Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about Tesla supercharging speeds, so if you're interested, stay tuned. First off, I want to mention that speeds are going to be impacted by the car you drive. So if you have a Model 3, you can utilize the full 250 kilowatt power of this V3 superchargers. But if you have an S or X, they have older battery tech in the 18650 batteries. So depending on which Model S or X you have, you might be able to take advantage of the 250 kilowatt, which is going to be the new Ravens. But if you have older Model S's and X's, it's only at, I believe, 225. Again, depending on which Model S or X you have. With that said, the Model 3 has the newer battery tech in the 2170 batteries, so they can take full advantage of the 250 kilowatt power, like I said, of the version 3 superchargers. And of course, that's integrated with the BMS, the battery management system. Now for the good stuff. So why can't you just charge at 250 kilowatts all the time and 100% of the time? There are actually quite a few factors that are involved on why you can't charge at 250 kilowatts all the time. So I'm going to try and lay them out here, and these are in no particular order. Battery pack temp. So with everything, the batteries seem to be at the right temperature to fully utilize all the power of the supercharger. During the winter months, you'll hear a lot of talk about cold-soaked batteries, and so basically that means that the batteries are so cold that they can't operate at full potential, and so that's going to slow down your supercharging speeds. Now this also goes the other way as well. If it's way too hot, say if you live in Arizona or something, and it's like 120 degrees outside, the cooling system for any car, Model 3, Model S, can only do so much. So again, both extremes, you're not going to be able to use the full potential of the supercharging network just because it's too hot or it's too cold for it to fully operate at full potential. One nice feature Tesla did add in an update is if you navigate to a supercharging station, the batteries will actually preheat themselves. So that way when you get to the supercharger station, the batteries will be fully operational and ready to take full advantage of the full power of that station, that day. The SOC, or state of charge of your battery, will also play a part in how fast you charge. Because if you're at, say, 50 or 60% and the charger's going at full speed, your batteries are going to be fried pretty fast. So they do take that into account when you're supercharging. So basically, the lower you are in your SOC, the faster you're going to be able to charge, because at that point, the batteries can handle that type of high power voltage. And once the batteries get more full, then that's when it needs to slow down because, the batteries can't handle all that high power all at once. And so if that happens, then the batteries do kind of get degraded. So that's where basically the more full your battery gets, the slower it goes. And it's kind of just like level 2 charging, nice slow trickle charge where basically it won't hurt the batteries once you get closer to full. Stall sharing will also impact the speed of your supercharging. So if you've ever noticed on the supercharger units, you'll see a 1A and a 1B and so on for however many stations there are. So basically those two units will share the same power cabinet, and basically the power is split between those two units. So basically what happens is if you get there first and you plug into one of the two units, then you're going to get the full power, whatever you need for your charge based on the BMS. And then basically what happens is the B side person, the second person to plug in, will pretty much get the leftovers of that power cabinet when they're charging. Until you leave, then they get whatever power they need. Maybe you're a Tesla noob and you don't even know the difference between the urban superchargers, which look like this, and they're 72 kilowatt power only, and the V2/V3 superchargers units that look like this. And so those ones obviously are going to be 150 kilowatt and 250 kilowatt power depending on which one you're at. Maybe one of the chargers inside the cabinet is broken, and there's no way you're going to know this until you plug in. So this is actually called supercharger health. And so once you plug in, you'll probably know because it's going to be going a lot slower than it should be for where you're at in your state of charge. So if this happens, then what you need to do is contact Tesla and let them know so they can try and fix it at a later date. But for that supercharging session, you're just kind of SOL. What you can also do is maybe just go to switch, to a different unit at that station, and hopefully that one won't be broken so you can get the full power of what you were expecting. Even the ambient temperature in the air could be an issue. So as I mentioned earlier, cold soaked batteries, too cold or too hot batteries can play a part. Well, same thing with the atmosphere. If it's too cold or too hot outside, then that's going to impact your supercharging charging speed as well. Even the supercharging cord could be an issue. So as we know, supercharger stations are used a lot. So these cords are, moving back and forth between the units and the cars a lot. And so what can happen is if they get worn down or kind of broken, it's not going to make a good connection with the car. And what's going to happen is it's not going to, deliver that power as fast as it normally should because it's not quite working correctly. The cords do have a temp sensor in them, and so this is to monitor how hot it gets because high energy could lead to fire, and obviously we don't want that. So what you could do, especially if it's on a hot day, is get a cold soaked rag and put it over the handle, and that way it'll try and keep it cooler, and that way you can get more energy to your car faster. The grid itself could even be an issue. So I think this is more prominent during hot weather when everyone is using the AC and basically sucking the grid dry. So PG&E, the utility company here in the Bay Area, they even enact like random shutoffs when it gets this hot, so that way they can try and save power and try and manage the grid better. So if that happens, it's not all that uncommon for supercharger stations to be totally out because they have no power. So that's all the reasons I can think of that you might not be able to charge at full power all the time. So hopefully you keep these factors in mind next time you go to the supercharging station. That way you can get out of there ASAP. Which supercharging speed factor did you find the most interesting? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.